Hello, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. May the light, the peace, the divine mercy, blessings, and grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with you. My name is Ihsan, and I'm the creator of the Islamic meditation program, as well as the Eternal Warrior Way program, and the co-creator of Soul of Islam Radio. And in this short video, I'd like to explain a little bit about a topic, a spiritual practice that really is at the core of Islamic spirituality, yet unfortunately nowadays is not really given the attention, the focus, the honor that it deserves. The specific practice that I'm referring to can be called meditation for common language. Generally, we can refer to this practice as meditation, but really there is no real good word that can describe the art, the practice, the experience of meditation. Does meditation have a place in Islam? Generally, when we speak of meditation, we tend to think of a monk or a Zen master sitting somewhere peacefully in a deep state of relaxation, presence, bliss. But what is the relationship with meditation and Islam? Does meditation have a place in Islam? First, let's simply define what meditation is. Meditation, quite simply, is the art, the practice, the experience of being still. It's about surrendering. It's about being completely still, relaxed, surrendered at the most fundamental levels of our being. Meditation is about completely letting go and annihilating, immersing oneself in the divine presence of Allah Almighty. Generally, as human beings, we're in an active state. We're constantly doing, whether physically or mentally, we are active. We're continually asserting will. We're continually asserting self. Yet, through the practice of meditation, we learn to surrender the self. We learn to simply sit and to simply be. In meditation, we're completely opening ourselves to the light, to the presence, to the divine grace and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eternal divine presence. Islam literally means to surrender. The root word for Islam is salam, which means peace. And the word itself, Islam, means to surrender. The understanding, the implication is that to arrive at peace, the goal of Islam, we must follow the spiritual path of surrender. And as part of our makeup, as part of our psyche, as part of our creation, we have this ego, we have this nafs, and it believes that it is responsible for our survival. However, the believer knows, understands, and believes that they are entirely, completely dependent upon Allah Almighty. Transcending the ego is a difficult task. It's a difficult practice. And this is known in Islam as jihad al-nafs, the greater struggle against the self, the greater war to transcend the self. Again, Islam is about peace, and there cannot be peace realized on the external outer level in the world until peace is realized in the hearts of human beings. This is what Islam is about. It is about attaining a state of peace. It's about attaining a state of Islam. The state of Islam is an internal spiritual state of surrender, of peace, of tranquility, of serenity, and of harmony with all that is. The state of Islam is a state of peace and oneness with divine will, divine reality as it manifests in this moment. This resistance to the present moment, this resistance to divine will, this resistance to everything else is a result of separation. The separation of the psyche from the oneness of creation. And all of Islam is about returning to that fitrah, returning to that original state of innocence, purity, clarity, and oneness. The spiritual path of Islam, known as tazkiyat al-nafs, in English sometimes referred to as Sufism, in Arabic as tasawwuf, is about returning to that state of purity. It's about purifying the self of the self. The natural state of the self, the ego-based consciousness, the mind, is one of resistance. It is continually resisting the present moment. It is continually seeking escape from the present moment, either into the past or into the future. The ego, the nafs, the self, the me, the I, it can only exist in time. It can only exist in past and future. It continually perpetuates itself into past and future to perpetuate the story, the drama of me. Yet in the pure present moment, you transcend yourself. In the pure present moment, you transcend ego-based consciousness. True surrender, true belief, true faith is only possible in the present moment. The degree to which we are consumed by time-based consciousness, by past and future, by the self, by ego-based consciousness, is the degree to which we manifest tension and contraction in the body. The body and the mind are connected. They are one. They are intricately linked. They are integrated. When there's tension in the mind, there's tension in the body. When there's resistance in the mind, there's resistance in the body. And this results in contraction throughout the entire system, physically in your muscles and your tissues, even on a deeper level in your organs. By physically relaxing the body, we relax the mind. By physically surrendering the body, we surrender the mind. We bring the mind into a state of surrender. This state of surrender is the goal of Islam. This state of existence in which the human being, the human psyche, the human consciousness is completely surrendered to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the very goal of Islam. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ described ultimately as Maqam al-Ihsan. We begin at Maqam al-Islam, progress towards Iman, where belief becomes rooted and real in the heart, and that leads us ultimately to Maqam al-Ihsan, this state of spiritual excellence in which a human being is perpetually aware of the immanent divine presence of their Creator, of their Lord, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The goal of Islam is the surrender of the self, specifically of ego-based consciousness, the surrender of the mind. And the Holy Salah, the prayer that we have been revealed, that has been revealed to us, given to us as a gift from the divine presence, its peak, its apex is in sajda, in prostration, when the forehead is placed upon the ground, symbolizing and signifying the goal of the spiritual path, the goal of Islam, the surrender of the mind. Either we, the heart, is in control of the self, or the self, the ego, is in control of us. And Islam is about affirming that there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la ilaha illallah, that the mind, the ego, the self is not in control. So in meditation, we are simply surrendering. We are relaxing. We are giving up. We are letting go. We are affirming with every aspect of our being that indeed there is no God but Allah. Is meditation necessary in Islam? Absolutely. There is no way to attain that level of faith and surrender without a meditative spiritual practice based in surrender. And we know that the Holy Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad spent days in meditation. Every month he would go to Ghar Hira to seclude himself and immerse himself in the presence of Allah in a complete state of meditation, not just for an hour or two, but for days at a time. And it was during these states of meditation, these states of presence, these states of complete total surrender, that he was given revelation, that Jibreel alayhi salam came to him with the revelation of the Holy Quran. Islam is an ocean of spiritual light and knowledge. It is not just a physical religion. It is not just a superficial topical religion. We are not going to get closer to Allah by simply observing outward forms. The path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the path to your Lord, your Creator, is a journey inward, deeper and deeper into yourself. And this can only be experienced. This can only be experienced when we close our eyes, when we seclude our vision from the outer world and turn inward. Allah Almighty said in a Hadith al-Qudsi narrated by the Holy Prophet ﷺ, "Neither the heavens nor the earth can contain me, save the heart of a believer." The doorway to the divine presence is in your heart. Through meditation, you learn to look within. You learn to turn within. You learn to awaken the capacity for consciousness in your heart. Through meditation, you learn to surrender yourself. You learn to anchor and root yourself in a state of divine presence. You learn to connect with the divine presence of Allah. Meditation is absolutely essential in Islam. In fact, meditation is Islam. It is the state of Islam. And nothing can be more necessary now. We live in a world where Islam has been completely lost, completely confused. The understanding of Islam is virtually completely lost. First and foremost, Islam is a spiritual path to the divine presence of Allah. The very purpose of our Messenger sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam was but this, to connect you, to lead you back to your Creator, to lead you home. There is no virtue in simply identifying with Islam. The benefit, the barakah, the nur of Islam is that it is a living way. It is a living path. It is a spiritual way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and guide us all and keep us well guided on a sirat al-mustaqim, the straight path that leads back to Him, the path of sincerity, the path of humility, and the path of spiritual excellence. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.